Hi there, and welcome back to another video with Ms. Rickfelder. Today we're going to be working on section 1.2. That's going to be on ratios. We're going to be starting on textbook page 20. And again, like I said, this is Ms. Rickfelder. So we're working on our ratio standards here, RP1. So let's go ahead and look at our first screen. Just make sure that you have your textbook with you because all of these notes are going to be in the textbook. These are not notes that are going to be written in your composition notebook. You can have colored pencils out if you think it's going to help you highlight different things that we're talking about here. Just remember you're writing everything down that I write down, and all of the work that you do that's on your own and then you check it is going to be done in pencil, please. So you can either use colored pencils or regular pencils for your notes, but always pencil for the work that you do that's the got it problems. Sorry about that. And never any pen or markers or anything like that. All right, so here we're looking at textbook page 20. I've got a little reminder here. Again, remember, if I write it on the screen, you write it in your textbook in relatively the same place. And these notes do not go in the composition book. These are written directly in your textbook. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so right here on this first page, on textbook page 20, we are looking at how to write a ratio in simplest form. So you want to go ahead and put a little bubble around simplest form because even though ratios are not fractions, we do fraction-like things to them. So that's why this particular piece focuses on simplifying ratios. All right, so I made that little note off to the side that ratios are not fractions, but we do fraction-like things to them. So it says there are many different ways to compare amounts or quantities. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. A ratio of 2 red paper clips to 6 blue paper clips can be written in 3 ways. So some of your test questions are going to ask you to write it in 3 ways. Some of your book questions are going to say write it in 3 different ways. They're not asking for 3 different ratios. They're telling you that they want you to express it like this, 2 to 6, like this with 2:6, and like this 2 with the fraction bar and 6. As with fractions, ratios are often expressed in simplest form. This is probably the most common mistake that people make when working with ratios is not putting them in simplest form. All right, so let's go ahead and look at example 1. It says to write the ratio in simplest form, so immediately we need to make sure that we underline that simplest form so we don't forget, and actually I'm just going to box it, that compares the number of red paper clips, so I want you to underline number of red paper clips, to the number of blue paper clips. And I'm going to use a different color to say to the number of blue paper clips. And then, super duper important, it says to explain its meaning. That's probably the piece that everyone leaves out, and it's really the most important piece. Now, one note that I want to make here, and you want to write this off to the side, is that the order that the numbers are written in comes from the question part of the problem. So sometimes they're going to give you information in a sentence, and they're going to say something like, there were 6 boys and 8 girls, but then in the question, they're going to say, what's the ratio of girls to boys? So you need to understand that the order is determined by the question. So in this particular question, immediately it says we want to do simplest form, but the number of red paper clips. So as soon as I read red paper clips, off to the side, I'm going to write red. And then I'm going to write a little fraction bar and then like that. And then it says to the number of blue paper clips. Now I know I'm using orange. I can switch it over to blue. Hang on. There we go. That makes more sense. So now, so it says the number of red paper clips to blue paper clips. Okay, so now I have all my colors in order. So now what we're going to want to do, so as we read the problem, we want to have red on top, blue on bottom, or red first, blue second. So now we're going to count the paper clips. We have 2 red paper clips, so we're going to write 2 red here. I realize it's already written for you somewhere here on the paper. It doesn't matter. I want you to write it exactly as I write on the screen. And then we're going to count the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the ratio is 2 to 6. However, remember that pink box, it says simplest form. So we want to make sure that we simplify it. So we're going to take that ratio of 2 to 6, and we're really just going to be dividing out 2. So if we divide out 2 here, and we divide out 2 here, then the ratio that we get is going to be 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And for blue, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the simplified ratio that we get is 1 to 3. Now that part in green that I said everybody forgets, it's the most important part. So now once we have our numbers, we want to first recognize that our answer can be written like this. The ratio of red to blue paper clips is 1 to 3, 1 to 3, or 1:3. So you want to make sure that all three of those, you know what they mean. They all mean the same thing. But then here's the important part, and I'm actually going to erase what I just wrote here a little bit. You don't need to erase it. I just wanted to erase it so as not to distract from the important part. This means right here, this means that for every one red paper clip, there are 3 blue paper clips. So put a big star right there and write the words explain. Let me explain to you that you need to write it like this, word for word. So it says this means that for every 1 red paper clip, there are 3 blue paper clips. So 1 to 3, or there's 1 red for every 3. None of those are acceptable. It needs to be word for word. That's why I wrote this big explain right here. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one. And let's let you try it. Go ahead and pause the video now. You want to make sure that you not only write the ratio, you put it in simplest form, and that you then explain. All right, so the problem says write the ratio in simplest form that compares the number of sons. So immediately I'm going to look at that word number of sons, and I'm going to write sons right here, just right away, right off the bat, because I don't want to get my order messed up. So the number of sons to the number of moons. So now I'm going to put moons on the bottom. And what that does is between the time when I read the problem and then I go ahead and count stuff, I haven't forgotten the order. So now I'm going to count the sons first. So the sons, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put a 4 there. And then the moons we have, let's change to purple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to put a 6 there. So we have 4 to 6, but again, that's not in simplest form. So we're going to go ahead and use our pink here to divide out 2 from each of those, because you can divide 2 out from 4 and 6. So now 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 6 divided by 2 is going to give you 3. So that means you have 2 suns and 3 moons, and the explanation looks like this. So I would be okay if you wrote 2 suns to 3 moons. You do want to have them labeled because we want to make sure that we know what they are, and then you want to make sure that you have the explanation. Now I've put the explanation here for space sake, and it says this means that for every 2 suns there are 3 moons. It has to be word for word, so make sure it is the exact same. So no shortcuts on this, okay? All right, now we're looking at textbook page 21. So moving right along here, it says use ratios to compare categorical data. What they mean is sort of like survey information where there are different categories and only one number can go in each category. So it says each piece of categorical data can only be assigned to one group. Bar diagrams or tape diagrams and frequency tables can be used to represent categorical data. Ratios can be used to compare the data. So this little accuracy piece right here is important because it's telling you that it's important to read the entire problem so that an accurate answer can be determined. Because sometimes you go into a problem already thinking you know what it means or what it's asking, and then it asks something entirely different. So let's look at example 2 to figure out what we're talking about here. Several students name their favorite flavor of gum. Write the ratio that compares. Now, as soon as you see that write the ratio that compares, your ears should perk up because you know what comes next is going to be some of the numbers you're looking for. So write the ratio that compares the number who chose fruit to the total number of students. Okay, so this is a little different than what we did before. So let's do the easy part first. The easy part is the number of fruit. So up here in this top right corner, that's where we're going to show some of our work. So as you can see, we have 3 that chose fruit. We know that. And we know that it has to be on top because the question put it first, the question portion. So now it says to the total number of students. So for the total number of students, we need to add all the students together. So I usually just put a line right underneath it and I start adding from there. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 8 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So you have a total number of students of 21. So let's go ahead and put that 21 total students right here. And then let's work from there. This is our given ratio. That's just the bare bones numbers that they gave us. But now let's go ahead and simplify it. To simplify it, we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 3, okay? And then what we get is 1 for every 7. Or not for every, sorry, I said that wrong. So 1 to 7 we have right there. And the explanation for this is a little bit different. It's actually really, really important that you understand the difference for this explanation. As you can see down here, the explanation for this problem says, so 1 out of every 7 students preferred fruit-flavored gum. So I want you to circle that, and then I want you to write that big explain again. Because when I pass your papers back to you, when I mark it wrong, when I tell you that you need to go back and look at the notes, this is what I'm telling you to look at, the explain portion. This is how it's different. It says, so 1 out of every 7 students preferred fruit-flavored gum. Because this comparison is not comparing two individual quantities, it's comparing a part to the whole. So before, when I said that ratios aren't fractions, this is more like a fraction because it's a part to whole, but we still call it a ratio. All right, let's go ahead and work this one out together. Now, as you know, I never use this part over here, but I actually am going to use it for this bottom piece. That's all down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the problem. It says, Monday's yogurt sales are recorded in the table. Write the ratio that compares. As soon as you see that, you know that you're going to have to start writing. The sales of strawberry yogurt, so immediately off to the side, I'm going to write straw to represent strawberry, right? And then I'm going to look and go, okay, that's 8. Actually, I'm not even going to go there yet. Hold on. The number of strawberry yogurt to the total sales. Total sales. So now we're going to write total right here. Okay? So now we can look and see. The number of strawberry is going to be 8. So we're going to write an 8 right up here. And then the total we're going to find by just adding it all up. So 8, 9, 10, 11, then we get 17, 18, 19, 20, so we get 24. So the total is going to be 24. And remember, this is our given ratio, so we actually need to simplify it. We're going to simplify it by dividing out 8 from the top and the bottom. So when we divide out 8, we get our new ratio, which is going to be 1 out of every, not out of every, for every one person that got strawberry. Hold on one second. There we go. I finished it up there. So now we have 1 to 3. That's the ratio. And then it says, so 1 out of every 3 yogurt cups sold were strawberry. And again, this is your explanation. So you're going to write explain right here so that you know what to refer back to when you need to correct your work. Go ahead and pause the video now so that you can work on this problem. Welcome back. Hope you did well. It says a pet store sold the animals listed in the table in 1 week. Write the ratio, here it comes, of cats to pets sold that week, then explain its meaning. Okay, because they want you to explain as well. So let's start with cats. So we're going to write the word cats right here. And then we know it's going to be comparing it to the total pets sold. So pets sold. All right, so now we're going to look up that information. So cats, we can see there are 8. And then the total pets sold, we just need to add up 10, 24, and then 24, 28, 29, 30, 32. So we get 32 here, I believe. And so then we're going to put 32 on the bottom. And now again, that's not in simplified form, so we're going to need to divide out an 8 from the top and the bottom. So divide by 8, and we get our new numbers, which is 1 cat, and we have 4 pets sold. Okay, so our ratio, we can express it like this, 1 to 4. We can say 1 to 4, or we can say 1:4. And then the explanation looks like this. So 1 out of every 4 pets sold was a cat. So that is your explain. You need to make sure that you have the explain for every single problem. So make sure that you do not leave that out. I'm going to write the most common errors. It says, so for every 1 cat, there were 4 pets. Kids love to write these this way. This is absolutely, positively wrong. So I do want you to write it down, but I need you to write that it's wrong, just like I wrote right here. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Let's go ahead and look at example 4 here on textbook page 22. In example 4, it says, Katie wants to divide her 30 flowers into 2 groups so that the ratio is 2 to 3. All right, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is when using a bar diagram, you want to write these steps. When using bar diagrams to model, you want to first find the total. So the total in this problem was 30. So we're going to write 30 there. Then the next thing that you want to do is you need to add the numbers in your ratio. So together to get the total number for the group. So you want to think of it kind of like 2 for you, 3 for me, 2 for you, 3 for me. You're giving out a group of 5, let's say M&Ms. So now it says when you add them together, we get 5. Whoops, went a little too fast. So this screen right here is just an add-on so that I can continue to teach the same concept. So the 2 plus 3 that we got from the ratio of 2 to 3 gave us 5. And then what we want to do is go ahead and draw our bar diagrams. So it says draw the bars to show the ratios 2 to 3. And you can see that happening there. And then you want to take the 30 from step 1 and you want to divide it by the 5 that you got in step 2. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. And then you want to put that number inside each box. So right now we're going to write 6, 6, 6, 6, and 6. So just to double check your work, you want to add them up. 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 12 plus 18 is in fact 30. So basically, there are 12 flowers in one group and 18 flowers in the other group. So you just want to add that there, 12 flowers and then 18 flowers. You can see that there. Yay, you made it to the end. Now it's your turn. You want to make sure, and I'm just going to underline this, I need you to do the same thing. Then explain its meaning. Also make sure it's simplest form. If you need some more space, you can write on the side of the paper. I'd like you to do numbers 1 through 4, please. So just numbers 1 through 4, and I will see you tomorrow. Good luck.